It's another Old Heads React video. Today's a bit of a serious conversation because we're talking about politics, US politics, history, and then how that affects the future. It's a whole kind of web, right? Okay, so I'm gonna try and keep it as simple and as least boring as possible. Stick with me. RFK Jr. was on a podcast with 19 Keys, one of those high-level conversation podcasts on the Earn Your Leisure channel. And he says something that was said so slick that no one caught it. But well, I also let you know that when you look at the chapters, you've got to look for the chapter that talks about food deserts. So they're talking about food deserts. And in this conversation about food deserts, RFK slips in this idea.
Finding out exactly the contaminants that are causing and then eliminating them. I'm also, my big Peace Corps program. You know, my uncle started the Peace Corps, he started the space program. My Peace Corps program is going to be wellness farms, rehabilitation facilities that I'm going to start in rural areas all over the country where any American can go for free, any of them who is dependent on drugs, either legal drugs or illegal drugs, psychiatric drugs, which every black kid is now just standard put on Adderall, SSRIs, benzos, which are known to induce violence. And those kids are going to have a chance to go somewhere and get reparented, to live in a community where there'll be no cell phones, no screens. You'll actually have to talk to people. And the model for this is a community that I had direct contact with because a family member of mine went there. And it's called San Padrigano's in Italy. That community is a 10,000-acre farm. And they grow organic food, so the kids eat very, very good food for the first time in their lives. They have a bakery, and the kids work in the bakery. They work in a furniture factory. They have an apparel factory. They have a wallpaper factory. They learn a skill. They learn a trade, and they can stay as long as they want for free. And when they leave, they're placed in a job, but they're taught how to be responsible, how to tell the truth, how to show up on time, how to be reliable, how to be a caring member of a community, to reconnect.
Now, here's what he suggests. He says that black children affected by ADHD medications will be given the opportunity to go to the country, to one of these large houses, be given organic food. They can stay there for as long as they like. Organic food is good for the health, right? But they're going to be not just there eating and chilling. No, they're going to be working. They're going to be working on the farm. They're going to be, the example we gave in the one in Italy, they're making bread. But they'll be working on the farm and eating this organic food. Parents has taken the advice from the government and given these children hyperactivity disorder drugs. And those children are now strung out on those drugs. Adderall, one of the most famous drugs, Adderall, is, according to RFK, linked to violent bouts of violence coming from these children. And so instead of having the parents worry about that, let's send them off to a plantation and let them work for free for as long as they want. So what he's actually doing there, I mean, it's so slick, it's crazy, it's so slick. What he's doing there is that he is selling the idea of enslaving your children back to the state. He called it reparenting. But in the example that he gave, there was no parents, there was no black parents, there was work. It leaves me questioning, like, how on earth did these Europeans go over to America and you've got tons of black people there living their best life, being the original Americans, so on and so forth, and then just enslaved a lot of them. Well, I couldn't think of anything. I couldn't think of a good enough way, a way in which that could happen until I saw this video. Because what he's done, he's sold this idea of the benefits of slavery to someone as astute as 19 Keys. I mean, 19 Keys has done some great videos. I've watched a lot of his stuff. He's done some great videos. He's a smart lad. And RFK slid that right past him, right under his nose. He didn't even clock. Hold on a second. Are you trying to sell slavery to black people? No, he didn't even clock it. Even the editor has put that section in, that kind of information into a section called food deserts. So, yeah, it was a slick move. And here we are in 2026. And black people in America are still being affected by the decisions made over in America, 400 years ago. I'm worried that this is going to happen again because that was said, and it wasn't until this past week, a year after that original podcast was shown, that a senator brought it up, and she was grilling him about it.
Mr. Secretary, you've made a number of outlandish and frankly disturbing comments both before and during your tenure as Secretary of Health and Human Services. I want to draw your attention to one of those times. In a 2024 podcast interview, you suggested that black children on ADHD medication should be reparented. You said every black kid is now just standardly put on Adderall, SSRI, benzos, which are known to induce violence, and that those children are going to have to go somewhere to get reparented. There is a lot to unpack in that comment. I know that you've already answered several of the questions I was going to ask, and so I'm just going to rephrase them. Mr. Secretary, you've already admitted that you are not board-certified physician, and you've already admitted that you did not go to medical school. Have you ever reparented, or parented, I should say, a black child?
I don't even know what that phrase means, and I doubt that I said it.
Just a yes or no answer.
I doubt that I said that phrase.
You
No,
absolutely
I'm not going to answer something that I didn't say.
You absolutely said
Black
it.
kid is now just standard put on Adderall, SSRIs, benzos, which are known to induce violence. And those kids are going to have a chance to go somewhere and get reparented.
You absolutely said it.
I'd like to hear the recording.
So to be
Because
clear,
it doesn't make any sense. I don't even know what it means.
I don't either. That's why I'm asking.
And by the way,
so to be clear, you're not a doctor, you have no medical degree, and you have no formal medical training. You have never parented a black child.
24 of the 26 HHS secretaries have not had medical degrees.
This is my time. And I say to the chairman, I want to reclaim my time. So you are not a doctor, have no formal medical training, and you've never parented a black child, and yet you are suggesting that the federal government should take black children away from their families and reparent them and send them off to some wellness farm instead of providing them with evidence-based
You're just making stuff up.
I am absolutely not making this up. Mr. Secretary, in your opinion, what factors should the federal government consider when reparenting a black child who has been on ADHD or ADD?
I don't even know what you're talking about, Congressman. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what reparenting even means.
I don't either, but you said that.
I did not say that.
Mr. Secretary, for black families in the United States, the issue of family separation is not new. Our nation has a long and painful history of separating black children from their families. During slavery, black children were taken from their parents and sold with no regard for their humanity. And after slavery, black families continued to face forced separations through Jim Crow laws, discriminatory policing, and child welfare systems that too often assumed that black parents were unfit. Even today, Black children are removed from their homes at higher rates than white children, not because of their greater harm, but because of longstanding bias and built-in institutionalism. For you to suggest that Black families are not capable of raising their own children is deeply offensive. Sir, you are the Secretary of Health and Human Services for the world's most powerful country, and your words matter. When you suggest that reparenting Black children, when you sow doubt about the safety of vaccines, and when you promote unproven statements that have no basis in science, you endanger the lives of everyone across this nation.
Yeah, so that's it. So what do you think? Am I clutching at straws and just hoping for the worst? Or is this actually something that's actually going to happen? Is this a new way forward? We know that that the way that the system is set up, regardless of whether you're in Europe or in America, it works based on the subjugation of Black people, whether they be in Africa, they be in America, or the Caribbean. It's like they need that subjugation of Black people as the engine to be able to drive, freeing up enough white people to come up with ideas and plans to, like, you know, enrich themselves. But what I hate to see is people falling for the same rhetoric that was pushed out 400 years ago. You know, life is getting more and more difficult for everybody. Over here in Africa, people are broke, but they're broke under mango trees, and they're broke under beautiful sunshine, and they're broke by the beach, and they're broke with bird song. Are they still singing? Yeah, they're still singing. I thought they stopped for a second. And they're broke under like bird song, and so it's kind of like you can get by, you can figure things, you can do stuff even with the little that you have. You're never going to go hungry because the ground is just producing food all the time. But in places like America, where they say you're not allowed to grow food in your garden, and it has to be grass only this high and it can't be any higher than that, all that kind of things that they use to ensure people are rigidly stuck to the system. And now they're screwing over this, now they're shutting down the system so that people have nowhere to go. What I hate to see is that people start blaming themselves for that and not seeing that actually it's the system that screwed you over, not that you screwed yourself over. Because if you think that it's your own fault, then no one revolts. Everyone just sticks with what they've got. Everyone just goes, okay, well, yeah, I'm just poor and that's just my bad luck. And maybe it is a good idea, because I can't afford these children anymore. Maybe it's a good idea to send them into the plantation up in the country and let them get free organic food while I suffer here. Meanwhile, those children are the next generation of enslaved Black people. Whew. That's heavy, and there's a lot of conspiracy theory and a lot of stuff I just made up off the top of my head. Let me know in the comments if you think I've gone absolutely mad. We must give it up. Subscribe to the channel, okay? We're hurtling to 5 subscribers. That's my first goal. Let me just get 5 subscribers. Come on, people. This is your brother, Old Head Reacts. Till next time.